All right, folks, we're back just in time. Brand new best of 3 kicking off, and oh, you know what? We got an intro for this. Let's play that instead. Good old Cactus Valley intro. Alright, game number 1 in the semifinals for this week's Corsair Cup. Of course, powered by Twitch and cast here on BaseTradeTV. Spawning to the top left side of the map, playing for Euronics Gaming, it's the red Zerg player Nerchio.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, is Neeb.
And folks, we're already asking what server is this going to be played on, and this is the European server. The thing about the Corsair Cup is it is a European tournament, European Cup. However, we did allow players to go off server when it's like them on their own, so if it's North America versus North America, you could totally go play on NA, or Korea, or vice versa. But this is something where Neeb has to play at the disadvantage of servers because he's the one who's chosen to come out to play in the tournament.
Yeah. He knew it when he signed up. He knew he was getting himself into. Making it poorly informed for the 33-month resub. Okay. And thank you to Mad Cow. Donated $50 to me personally, and I think he donated to you as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so... But he put a message, and I'm not sure you're going to like this one. Love what you're doing with BaseTradeTV to keep us two going. Since you knew the difference between Taiwan and China, but Rifkin didn't, you get twice the money.
Yeah, I got less.
Taiwan #1.
Well, so here's the thing, because this actually got a lot of comments on YouTube, and people were actually very upset about it. The thing is, like, if you Google Taiwan right now, like, go to Google, it says it's part of China, and that's what I was going off of, because I didn't know. I don't live in that part of the world. I don't know the political discourse. Like, excuse me for just referencing the most ready and available, usually correct resource possible.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna, like, back you up here, right? Like, I mean, there's one thing, it's just, like, sometimes you just do not hear about these things. I mean, actually, the Taiwanese, like, whatever you want to call it, I actually don't know what to call it, to be honest, but their want of freedom, right, like, is, it's kind of an old, story. Like, it's still going on, but it was a much bigger deal, I feel, like, 10, 20 years ago. But anyway, besides that, but yeah, but the thing we were talking about was the point is it doesn't matter if it was Taiwan or China, it wasn't Korea.
Yeah.
It was... That's why I was really annoyed when people were like getting on everyone's butts and shit like that. So.
I mean, it's first off, thank you for the money. Like, we're not trying to pick apart you here, but that was just like an objective thing where if the rules are that the tournament is based on Korea and you have to be a Korean resident living in Korea to play, it doesn't matter whether you're Chinese, whether you're French, whether you're American, like, you can't play.
Yeah, so, yeah, but yeah, thank you for the money. Just, I'm sure he meant it in a more comical way. That's the word.
Yeah,
anyway.
no, for sure. I was talking more. My thing was more in reference to the YouTube comment. A lot of mud being slung on YouTube. Actually, I haven't had to delete comments on YouTube in like forever, but that was definitely first time in a long time. Anyways,
yeah. Points
been noted. I'll know in the future. Dark Shrine coming out of Neeb for this game. I guess Cactus Valley is not a great map to start off on if you're thinking like, hey, it's Nerchio, he gets tilted by carriers, let's go carriers, because this is not a map you're going to easily secure a third on.
No, in fact, Cactus Valley has a lot of things to really talk about it. It's a very difficult... Wow, I just combined difficult and complicated together.
I thought you were saying diplomatic.
I should have gone with that. It's a diplomatic map, you know? No, it's not. It actually has a lot of like really difficult things to consider when you're trying to expand, basically. Which in part of the Swarm wasn't so bad if you're just 2-base outlanding all the time, but in Legacy of the Void, everyone needs to expand. So it can be very difficult. Nerchio, even if he took damage right here, which he shouldn't, right? He's got... I thought he had an Overseer on the way. There, yeah, he's an Overseer. Even if he took damage, a counterattack to Neeb's third would probably be effective almost no matter what he did. Especially being horizontal spawns.
Well, except Neeb doesn't have a third to counterattack.
But if he did, you know? And I think that's why Neeb is choosing to add on his gateways as opposed to go for a third base. I think Neeb in general is more of a macro player, and that's what we saw in his last series versus Zerg. But because it's Cactus Valley and it's so hard to secure a third base, he's like, gotta apply that designated pressure, right? And then maybe I can expand.
Well, while this goes on, Neeb, he's got good control, that's for certain. We're gonna see most, I think, evidently through Warp Prism control, whether the latency is an issue for him or not. I will say though, and I probably should have mentioned this when we were talking about servers earlier, Neeb has been one of the few players who's consistently not cared where you played on. There's a lot of folks out there who will be very adamant saying like, I refuse to play in a tournament if it's not on blank server. Neeb's always just been kind of chill though, and like, oh yeah, I'll play. Sure, not a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill. Nerchio has always been a person that had a lot of scouting compared to other Zergs. Again, like he goes a lot off of people that he knows that they play, or like, gas timings, probe counts, like stuff that isn't directly scouting a bunch of gateways. And as such, he is missing out on this scout, or a lot of gateways, and he is moving out. But he knows something, and he's playing, I think, a safe game as well, because he's already at 60 drones, so he's making nothing but army right now. Is it good enough?
I mean, these stalkers don't have blink yet, but everything here is pretty effective against what Nerchio's got. I mean, not a lot of weapon upgrades out of Neeb or anything like that, but the Archon's still alive from the earlier engagement. Stalker's avoiding the Corsair Biles. Blink is now finished. One of the Archons go down, and Nerchio's starting to push this back.
I like him playing it, again, safer by pulling the drones, getting queens so he can spend his money too. I think he's got this under lockdown, but this is Neeb's attempt to get something done, so he could take a third. It's still a desperate third, but I think if he took a third in a macro sense, it would have been very difficult. Like, he's in a tough position on this map no matter what.
Blink control here's not so bad. He was contemplating using it to get away, but he uses it to fight. He's not trading too bad versus Nerchio at all. Of course, that Archon's had enough time to get its energy back, or its shields back, so takes a bit of pepper, but gets a shot off in the process. Nerchio with some really good focus fire priorities through this game too, by the way.
Yeah.
But that blink forward, aggressive as hell, dodges the Corrosive Biles, pounces on top of the Ravagers, and Nerchio was moving towards wanting Hydras. He's pulling the drones at this point. He's feeling desperate. And that Warp Prism's still standing. These reinforcements could potentially come out, but most important, that Archon shouldn't die. Ooh, it's at 1 health. How do you get an Archon to 1 health?
I think Nerchio made a mistake getting a couple more drones, as well as trying to go for Hydra lists.
I mean, I really would have liked the Hydras if he had gotten them in time, but GG.
Wow. Stalker's good.
I think Stalker's looking pretty good. Of course, that'll be Nerchio's pick for game 2. But this is, for me, really cool to see, because for Neeb, the question kind of, it goes to your mind. Like, are you a good enough player to take on Nerchio? That's a yes or no. And then the second part is, are you good enough to take on Nerchio, but with carriers or not? And like, we all know Neeb's able to go all of these directions. Like, the answer is basically, are you good enough blank? And the answer is yes every time for Neeb. So it shouldn't be the case, but Nerchio being a bit of an underdog in this situation.
Neeb good at drinking? No. He shouldn't. He's 19. Come on, people.
There you go.
Daybreak is the next map, and Nerchio has become the European alive.
Yeah, I think he makes it because he doesn't like waiting for us either. The extra 30 seconds we squeeze in. Eliminate all the downtime. Oh, man. Actually, I got a question for you about Nation Wars, okay?
Yeah.
Why was that such a groan?
Downtime.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you guys?
Nation Wars.
Yeah, did you hear? Like, did you see like all the reactions to like the severe downtime and stuff?
I did not.
Like, it's probably. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think Nation Wars had by any means like the most downtime of all time, but there was a considerable amount of downtime, and holy crap, like the reactions were kind of crazy. And then of course the Talkcraft thing became a meme, and I don't know, like everyone was really, really upset with Nation Wars downtime, and I just couldn't help but think, like, you guys have seen the DreamHack before, right? Like,
yeah, I didn't see anything like posted on Reddit, and from what I read, limited to the Team Liquid thread, I didn't see too much, so I figured people were reacting maybe even better. But I intentionally don't go into the
Twitch chat was about what you expect it to be. I mean, credit to the Nation Wars guys, they did actually finally try to moderate it on the final day, but that only went so far.
You don't have to tell me what everyone else was saying, because I because they even brought in Drogo, so there was one less cast position for 3 games, which was cool and all. Like, I don't necessarily mind, but it was 2 best of 7s in 8 hours, and I cast, I think, 5 games because they didn't go to all 7 games. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of downtime for me as well.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but hey, at least you had a good time, right? Overall.
I had my friends. I had Sasha, I had Scarlett until she went to go take a nap for 4 hours.
Yeah, there's so many pictures. Like, I couldn't help but think about that too, right? I know, Goose, talk about the game. We will in a sec. Hang on. But there were so many instances where people were tweeting pictures of, like, Innovation sleeping and all these other things. I'm just thinking, like,
Yeah.
what's going on there that people are sleeping for? Jesus.
A long day, that's what.
Yeah.
They all came to practice early. All those guys were from Korea, so they were still a little bit jet lagged.
Well, anyways, folks, game number 2 already kicking off. Top right side of the map. Playing it pretty close to the vest and nothing too cheesy. It's going to be Nerchio.
In the bottom left is the blue Protoss. He is Neeb.
Yeah, and I just want to shut this down. It's not exactly getting out of hand, guys, but Nerchio, no GG, no skill is not like an okay meme here. It's not funny. Nerchio very much doesn't GG, like, ever. It's little to do with being ragey or pissed off. You just don't see it come out of him often. Usually when he does, it's actually, the funny thing is, when you think about it, more often than not, it's when he does GG that it's like kind of BM. Like, he'll be like, GG, nice balance, David Kim.
Yeah.
I feel like Nerchio's the kind of guy who, if he was like in some epic movie fight and he's like about to die, like, he's got to get the last word in before he dies.
The last word's the most important. Yeah. The build probably was a little bit frustrating, to be honest, but Nerchio never GGs. So it's not adding into that discussion, but Neeb was in a position that looked like it wasn't going to work. Nerchio responded soon enough and took it seriously enough initially. And he might have also scouted the 3rd going down, I'm not sure. But if he did, you know, you think you can fit in a couple more drones, you think you should be going to an advanced tech, and then Blink Stalkers worked. So I'm sure it was frustrating for him to see that happen. And Daybreak is a different map. Neeb won't feel the same pressure to do that same build. Same follow-up anyway, he's actually doing the same build, I think.
Yeah, the game actually, what was cool for me in that last one, though, we talked about the build being abusive and whatever out of Neeb. I really enjoyed just watching that control. Like, you so very rarely see somebody blink into a fight and come out ahead. Usually that's the mistake move to make, right?
It usually is. Sometimes it is the right move. There's no lings, you know, they're not upgraded, or there's just the micro is worse than the actual units on the field that cuts off the micro potential. It's sometimes the correct move. As I said, Neeb probably won't be going into more gateways after this. He will be taking the expansion, but Nerchio is going to be very keen on whether he does that or not. Nerchio himself going as 3rd place.
Yeah, that reminded that Neeb did not take his own 3rd for a very long time and still got away with that game. It's not at all bad that he doesn't rush this out. In fact, better, because it's more money that you put towards the attack. And it is Dark Templar and a Warp Prism again. The thing is, though, this move is so expected. And somebody like Nerchio certainly should see this coming. But no Spore Crawlers down yet. He's going to rely on an Overseer again with a faster layer.
This just seems to be the way that Nerchio likes to play against Protoss' faster layer.
I like this move, though. You got to consider what's happening. Neeb's going to be taking everything across the map, so he might not have anything at home to defend with. I mean, this is not even a Mothership core. He skips everything for this. Maybe Nerchio recognized that in game 1, and yeah, he might take a bit of pepper from the DTs, but Neeb's going to take a lot of damage from these Lings.
Yeah, he is. This is really nice. Neeb has had weakness in the past against earlier Ling drops and Ling builds because he doesn't build a Mothership core for so long.
I would say even aggression in general, thinking to like Bly games, you proxy Stargates in, or sorry, not Stargates, hatcheries in, right?
Yeah.
But okay,
He's had his share weaknesses.
This didn't go well for Nerchio.
Whoa.
The Lings got cleaned up a lot faster than expected. He actually straight up killed the 3rd. I mean, Neeb took 3 probe losses, and that's not bad. Oh, he's actually gonna kill the Overlord too. That's really bad for Nerchio. This catch early though, surrounding the Archons. It's not going to kill them, but now that they're already so low, it's a lot easier to get damage in right there than it is for trying to chase them and have them constantly dropped and picked up over and over again.
Nerchio certainly is a bad position. Losing the third base, but then having to steal deal with the Warp Prism on Archons. Team's micro is... It's going to be more damage, almost no matter what. Really wants to get the Warp Prism, though, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
and he almost gets it. Jeez.
I like those moves out on Nerchio too with the Lings. He wasn't just auto-attacking with them, he was constantly trying to wrap them around the Archon so they wouldn't be able to move. They'd have to be picked up in the Warp Prism, which would force it in range of the Queens. So it's subtle, and it wasn't that much damage through the Lings, but it was cool because they did help damage the Warp Prism in a small way.
Yeah. Now, Neeb did not get the fastest Nexus possible after this build, and I think that's a wise move. You kill the third base. Even if you have Archons, your army back at home still isn't that strong, so he adds in, you know, Forge, a couple gateways, then the Nexus, and even already had pylons down, you know, so it's safe from Ling run buys. It's probably going to be safe from any Roach attacks Nerchio could have tried, but he's not. Nerchio just kind of ate the lack of a third base and rebuilt it, and is now back up to a good economy. But it's really going to delay any serious pressure you can do on Neeb. It will have Hydras whenever he does it.
Can we get a ban on this Bobble Convolute guy in chat? Not speaking English.
No French in chat, Bobble. God.
Actually, you know, that does fit our persona ignorazo, where we just don't know anything about Europe. We should just, like, meme that from now on. Someone comes to chat clearly speaking Korean, you're like, no speaking French. Cut it out.
That's what they already do. I was quite proud of myself, actually. The cab ride home... Or, not home. Cab ride to the airport in France. I took one by myself.
You were in France?
I know, right?
I'm not gonna drunk. Oh, on the hot scale, I'm a 10, baby.
We basically spoke 50% French, 50% English to each other. My French is okay, and then his English was okay. I was quite proud of myself. And I was tipsy and really tired, and I still understood what he was saying. Now that...
Attendez? Yeah, I did that.
Thank you to Artemis, which is almost like Artemis, the $10 donation. I like BaseTradeTV and your tournaments.
Well, I like you, man. Thanks for the $10. Put that towards that fundraiser. All nice and good like.
Yeah.
But okay, the middle of the map gets opened up, and Nerchio's looking for opportunities to move around and attack. However, his army, well, definitely nice in terms of supply count, not so nice in terms of type of supply count. Roaches and Ravagers versus a lot of Sentries and Immortals. Neeb's getting a little bit AI'd on, though, so, oh, that's a mistake. That's a huge unit to lose this early in the game.
Yeah. But luckily, it's something that he can afford, I think, because of the damage he did earlier on as well. This is just not a very scary army without those Hydras, and we just killed 2 drones. Nerchio, as I said, like has this later timing with less units, and it just isn't scary for Neeb. Neeb had his time to get to really powerful units and armies, and it's very good defensively, and soon, too, he could go for an attack. But I was wondering if Nerchio was going to do this, because it seems to be a very good come-from-behind maneuver, as well as something he likes to do on Daybreak. He makes 5-6 Overlord drops, and then drops his Hydras into one place and attacks elsewhere. Neeb should know this of Nerchio, but it still can be a very big surprise, because he does it at different times.
Well, I would really like for this to work out in Nerchio, because it could be cool, but he also went for the Lurker Den behind this, and I wasn't sure which more emphasis was going to go into, the drops or the Lurkers, right? Force Field's come down, Nerchio's going to break them, frees up some of the Roaches. This could have been a big slaughter for Nerchio, actually, but keeps a good chunk of his units alive. Smart decision-making. His army supply, though, is seriously getting toweringly large over that of Neeb, and this is where he can afford to split his units if he needs to. But he's not. He's still attacking one consolidated force, and I think he hopes that the Hydras have just got the damage to break this down. Of course, the Baals land on the backside. They don't hit the Sentries. There we go. Now the Sentries are gone. There's no more Guardian Shield, and those Hydras get to unleash the beast! Full damage from the Hydras.
It's effective. The Archons took so long to get in the front lines. The Bears were all popped on the Immortals and no charge lots to help tank it for them either. And Neeb does end up taking a loss. Really thought his army was going to be good enough.
Well, GG. Scrappy fight goes in the favor of Nerchio this time around. They'll tie things up 1-1. I love these bits. They all get knocked out of the jar. We'll be back for game number 3 in just a moment. It will be Neeb's map pick. See you soon. All right, folks, we're back, and we're going to get into game number 3. Things are now tied up 1-1 here for the Corsair Cup. Again, powered by Twitch. Thank you, Twitch, for helping make this possible. But, of course, it's Corsair, and more Corsair. They actually have an affiliate program out now, so I'm hoping that we'll get that signed up soon. And then if you guys actually want to buy stuff, it'll help us out directly instead of just like, hey, good vibes for buying Corsair Gear.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. But spawning here in the bottom left side of the map, we got the red Protoss player, Neeb.
In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, he is Nerchio.
By the way, I have to ask a question at the end of stream today. So Zombie Grub and I are going to stick around for a few minutes and we'll have a talk with you guys. But I need you, specifically if you're not American, I know everything we do is usually tailored to Americans, but if you're specifically not American, hang around after stream because we got some talks to do with our dedicated and loyal audience. It's about that thing that we're figuring out.
I mean, I figured that out.
Okay, I hope you figured that out.
Just wondering how that really sounds to the stream.
Guys, we're gonna talk about how mommy and daddy are going our separate ways.
Yeah, kind of like either that or it's like, hey, meet me in the back of Wendy's.
But only we're going only our separate ways for the non-Americans. We'll sit together for the Americans.
Only the attractive people come this way.
That's terrible.
So Nerchio does do his whole third as an expansion thing. He does a lot of the time, but not always. Just on Daybreak.
I'd say it's pretty consistent versus Protoss, though. We see this a lot because he just doesn't want to waste time, and he's good enough to know he's getting that natural base at some point, anyways.
Thank you for the 100 bits.
Yeah, getting to see the bits fall in the cup after every game. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I guess that's the weird thing because other streamers only have like the one static screen, so it never like refreshes the bits. I had no idea how that would work. I thought they would just disappear forever.
Yeah. It's cool how it works. The last game was the same opener as this one might just be, but different follow-up, and I thought Neeb had done a good job doing damage, macroing. I think there was definitely some problems with the way that his army was fighting in that last battle. You know, he didn't actually take advantage of the high ground, concave. He was a bit late to it. And his Archons were all stuck behind, and a bit late to the party as well. I think he was morphing them in. With no charge on the front lines either. It wasn't the biggest, baddest Protoss army. We're to Nerchio's Roach Hydra army. Let's bring it up because you might see the exact same thing happen this game. It is going to be Dark Shrine again, and probably into a third base. Neeb doesn't usually go for all-ins, so I don't think we'll see the Blink Stalker follow-up again. Nerchio is going for an earlier Overlord speed, one of the earliest you really see from Nerchio, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if that's directly designed to pair up with a drop or not. I mean, the nice thing was last game, he almost ran away. Like, it was almost like a home run with that attack he did versus Neeb. The one stock at the last second probe pull, like, Nerchio, if Neeb was paying any less attention, could have gotten way more probe kills out of that.
It also might have been he had no scouting up until this Overlord, which usually he doesn't mind so much, but because it's Newkirk and it's Neeb, he might have been a little paranoid of, like, Stargate just about to hit him, or even like a double Stargate or something like that. Basically not the Dark Shrine build, but it is. And the Dark Shrine build doesn't ever, I want to say, go into a carrier build, so doesn't have to worry about that. But now his Overlords, as speedy as they are, can also be used to drop, so it's a useful thing to have.
Oh, by the way, this guy just started watching. I guess Twitch friends think it would sometimes be useful for its creepiness. Eureka Capella! Dude, if you're listening to this, we need to partner up, man. We need to make some more map intros for the new season coming out. I've been so lazy about doing that for the last year. It's time to get back on that map intro bandwagon.
Bandwagon? Isn't it like the wagon you've been using and then you left on the street?
Yeah, but I banned it because I was not wanting to use it anymore, so I didn't want anyone else to use it, so...
Okay.
We also used it to play music together sometimes, so it was the bandwagon as well.
Oh, you. Oh. Okay, so the Archons are immediately morphed in. Usually, Neeb does do the DTs first, but he decides not to. And he is getting a militia core. Only just now. The third base goes down like anticipated, and Nerchio could maybe get things over there.
That's another Englishism, by the way. The third base goes down. Does that mean it's dead or that it's building?
Oh. Things can mean two things.
Things can mean two things?
Yeah. Thing 1 and thing 2.
Tweedledum and Tweedledee.
Bert and Ernie.
Abbott and Costello? What are we doing here? I don't know this game.
I don't know what we're doing either. We're naming pairs.
Zombie Grub and Rifkin.
It's not curses.
Apples
Anyway.
and oranges. Oh wait,
this-
pears.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. So this is the 4th base, and it was a cancel anyway on a very short-lived hatchery. Not quite the same damage. And Neeb, actually, other Nerchio, taking the 4th base to the top. I like this so much better for Zergs almost always. ZvZ, ZvT, ZvP. I just think, you know. Well, I guess if you're the aggressor, then expanding to your opponent makes sense, and that's what people did on Ruins of Saros. Saros. So we're gonna start saying things correctly. But I always see them go for this as the pocket expansion, 3rd or 4ths. Sometimes going farther away means that War Prism harassment can be a bigger deal to deal with, and maybe seeing that Neeb hasn't done that yet, Nerchio doesn't care about it so much.
Well, I like the idea of the Hydras coming up pretty quick. Not only will they be good against the potential push Neeb has coming that he's displayed before, but if this is going to be air, as we are on Newkirk, you know, that maybe in the background, it's good to have those ready to go rather than need them and not have them.
Did you call for non-Americans when you made that PSA?
Yeah. Why?
People are trying to get you on a technicality, I guess.
Well, we specifically need everyone who's not America to give feedback.
Well, I think people are saying if you're in North America, then you're American.
First off, that's not true at all.
I know.
Because nobody says United Statesian.
I'd say it's citizen.
You're looking a little United Stasian, you know what I'm saying?
No,
You
I
have those
agree.
big round eyes.
Although sometimes when they little like customs form when they're like, "What's your nationality?" I'm like, "American." No, wait, USA.
America. Don't even put the A, dude. Just go America.
Yeah. Anyway, I have an attack on Neeb's 4th base, and that is, I think, enough and early enough to the Nexus that maybe it gets a cancel. I goes around. Bailey Nests. Upgrades finishing up. No Carapace upgrades, just all into attacks for Nerchio. Neeb. He's got the cancel his 4th now. The army's here. Not too bad to do it, though. Oh, I don't know if that blink forward. It'll be dangerous. Or is that okay?
Oh, Guardian Shield.
Enormous.
Guardian Shield's really nice. That was not going to be a fight Nerchio wanted to take anyways, so both players walking away. But
Yeah.
so many Hydras, and possibly Banelings on deck, because Baneling speed starts up in a moment. I don't really know how effective Banelings will be, because there really isn't like Adepts or Charge Lots with this army. It is Core, Stalkers, Archons, Immortals, and it's unlikely that they reach to the back and hit the sentries.
Do we have a Warp Prism? Yes, this time we do with this attack. And it is scary. As I said, they're an even army supply, and the upgrades are even in a way. Everyone's got one attack, basically. The Banelings aren't done, and they do not have Baneling speed. Just going to use it to clean up Freak for now. But he could move in if he saw an opportunity. This is where the 4th base would be instantly killed because Force Wheels will go down. Swear to God. But instead it turns into a bit of a concave, but it's around for Nerchio. The Warp Prism's gonna be taken out too. Oh yeah, those are behind.
That concave was really nice. Picking off the really important units in that fight. The Warp Prism for reinforcements, but also getting the Archons and those really key strong units on that front line. For Neeb, what's funny is like, okay, Blink Stalkers can certainly get something done. There's no question that, and they've got +2 weapon upgrades, which isn't bad either. But I really like the moves to try and go for Disruptors behind this.
Yeah, I think Disruptors are the way to go. Blinks forward aggressively while keeping the rest of the army off to the left. It's actually a pretty good move from Neeb here. Blinks forward again though, and that was a little bit too aggressive. But he's taken a good portion of Nerchio's army out. He's got to run away from the banelings. He's got no force fields. Oh, that wasn't really that bad of a hit. Nerchio, a bit of trouble.
I mean, at first, that fight he pushed him back, but Nerchio looked so in control of this game. The concave was wonderful. He had a great army supply, but still sitting kind of close. I do think that Hydras and Lings better than pure Stalkers. Immortals are going to be somewhat helpful here.
Neeb probably is better off waiting for its disruptors, but that might be giving Nerchio a chance to get to Hive and Broodlords.
Yeah, that's always a scary maybe thing. I think that's maybe why he was being a little bit aggressive the way he was, but disruptors are certainly going to guarantee better hits. I mean, especially if any of these Hydras are off creep, muscular augments or not, which he does have, there's no way you're splitting versus disruptors very easily.
Yeah. Well, if Neeb's going to wait for disruptors, and say he waits for 4 or 5 disruptors, he might not have a response to Broodlords. Oh, no, he does. Okay, so he throws down a Stargate, because that was the worry, was that he wouldn't have enough money to both max out his army of disruptors and start adding on Tempest. But if he can do both, then he doesn't have to push in right now. Although I still think his army's looking very good. Infestors are on the way for Nerchio, and that could help his Banelings get some really nice hits. Or just make all the sentries go pop. I think Neeb's gonna try and take a 5th base where his army is pretty soon. Nerchio needs his own 5th base as well, I would say. Maybe where his army is right now as well. That's where the fight's happening. Disruptors get a decent hit for going down.
Yeah, great shot on the right side. As he falls back, though, the Banelings crash in through the central part of the army, and as we'll notice, there's not really any sentries or anything left. Nerchio took out a good chunk of the important units. Once again, picking off disruptors, getting those sentries. Still no real warp prism for reinforcements. It's all blink stalkers at this point.
It was aggressive, and now, although the fungals are available, they actually miss what could have been a really, really good shot. They still help keep those blink stalkers in place.
Nerchio's army supply might be dipping a little bit too low, though. He starts backing away from this. Stalkers do blink forward. Now they're on creep. This is Nerchio's playground, but his army supply just isn't there.
Yeah, of course, he's investing into a Greater Spire as well as a Juno Gland, which are not helping right now. And he might be broken before he can get to any Broodlords whatsoever. I mean, he's got like 1 Corruptor. 1 Broodlord will not help. I can tell you that much.
I gotta say, it's really impressive watching the Stalkers work out the way they have been. I mean, they've just not been such good units for so long, but hold the phone. Maybe I'm speaking a little too soon. I don't know. These Disruptor hits are pretty good, though. And Nerchio's army, he pulled some drones into this to soak some hits. Nice splits over there. Just completely dodges that Disruptor hit.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I think Neeb knows that Nerchio's on the brink of getting to Broodlords, though, seeing a Corruptor out like this, and he wants to break him right now. If he gave Nerchio even a minute of breathing, Nerchio is still on a good economy. He would get enough of a bank to try and go for Broodlord. Not gonna happen.
GG's get called. Neeb gonna go through to the finals of the Corsair Cup.
Woo.
Which is cool because, by the way, if he does win the finals of the Corsair Cup, he will get through to the grand finals at the end of the month. That being said, though, we're now going to be casting Denver versus Alive in a TVZ to see who the other contestant in those finals would be. Nerchio, of course, does qualify for money today as well as points. And once the tournament's done, we'll review who's available to go through and get invites for that finals. But we're going to go to a commercial break, guys. We'll get this next lobby set up. Don't go anywhere. Back with more when we return.